right, welcome to tonight's homework. We're going to be looking at a Prezi that will actually be divided into two videos. The first part of the video, we will cover the body sentences of paragraphs, and the other video will cover the transitions and conclusions. And by the end of these two videos, you will have covered the three parts of a paragraph, and we'll be ready to start doing some practices in class on writing paragraphs. All right. So please remember that any time that you see this pencil, that it's a chance for you to pause and to take notes. Remember to use the rule of 5 rather than copying everything down. Get your ideas down in 5 words or fewer words. So to start out with, after you have established what your topic sentence is, which was what the last video was about, it's now time to look at your big ideas. Sometimes we call them main supporting details, but whether we say big ideas or main supporting details, we're talking about the same thing. And each paragraph should have at least 3 of them. 3 supporting reasons or explanations that will support the topic sentence. Each of these big ideas need to be different from each other, and so that there is no repetition or redundancy. Pause now and make sure you have your notes down for what the big ideas are before going on to the example. Okay, here's an example. Let's say your topic sentence is, "My mom is the best." You want to brainstorm some ideas of reasons or things that will explain why your mom is the best. You may come up with how she cooks great food, and that she takes you different places, and she listens to you. And maybe in your brainstorming you also write down, "She helps me get where I need to go." Well, when you look back on that, you'll notice that that second and fourth big idea are really the same thing. She takes me different places and she helps me get where I need to go. Same idea, just different words. And so we're going to X out that last one because we don't want to be repetitive in our writing. Once you have your big ideas, then we need to think about our say mores. What else can we say more about each of the big ideas? These sentences come after the big idea and will expand the ideas and really help the reader to understand all of the details that they need in order to know what's going on. And so that's one reason why we want to have these say more sentences. Another reason is that without these sentences, it's really impossible to push your writing to a higher level. You're not going to get to advanced or mastery without these say more sentences. Also, and this is really the most important thing, as a writer, you want your reader to be able to visualize, to really see what you're talking about. And so without these say more details, you're never going to get there, and so that's not going to be as effective. Make sure you pause and finish your notes on say mores before going on to the example. All right, let's take our "My mom is the best" paragraph example again. You have the 3 big ideas, and now for each of them we want to say more about them. So when after we say that she cooks great food, maybe we'll say some things about her amazing spaghetti and meatballs and her tacos. After we say that she takes you different places, you can talk about the sporting events or the shopping activities that you've done with her that you've enjoyed. And after you say that she listens to you, maybe you'll tell that story from that 6th grade experience where you had some issues with some friends and she listened to you and you're able to work it out and things went better after that. Okay. And when you're just getting your ideas down, short and quick are okay because you're not ready to write the whole paragraph yet. But there's an example of what we mean by say mores for big ideas. Now, just having the big ideas and the say mores really isn't going to be enough. It's how you say them and how you talk about them that can really capture your reader's attention. So we're going to watch a video, and the question that I want you to think about while you're watching it is, how does using clear, interesting verbs help your writing? Make sure that you pause after watching this little mini video and answer that in your notes.
Precise verbs. Audience appreciate the use of precise verbs. It helps them to understand the sentences much better. Consider the words get or got. This is a common word that gets used a lot in student writing. You can say, I got a new phone. However, in hindsight, God does not provide us with any other context for understanding the situation. So you got an extra phone. In a sense, this word limits the clarity or coherence of the sentence. It's a poor word choice. In revision, that is, in place of got, you might use I bought a new phone, I received a new phone, I found a new phone, heck, even I stole a new phone would be much better than just got. The same can be said of says or said. We see these a lot when students are doing their writing, especially when quoting. Instead of says or said, you can say states, posits, claims, suggests, asks. Anything is much better than saying says or said, which is very general.
Okay. Make sure you pause and answer the question in the video before going on. All right, let's look at what this whole big idea, say more thing looks like in a real paragraph. You're going to need to have a green, red, and yellow either highlighter or colored pencil if you're doing your notes on paper, or if you're using the guided notes, then you can use the highlighting function on your iPad. And we're going to highlight the topic sentence and the concluding sentence in green, to highlight the big ideas or main supporting details in red, and highlight those sentences that expand or say more about each big idea will be in yellow. I will help you get started, then the rest of it will be on your own. So let's look at this paragraph. The paragraph says, our family loves to celebrate Thanksgiving. To start, all of our relatives come over to our house. Some come in the car and some come on airplanes. My mom spends hours shopping for and cooking all the food. We have roasted golden brown turkey, apple stuffing, and my favorite, garlic mashed potatoes. After dinner, my 3 cousins and I wash the dishes. While we are cleaning up, the men start watching football on TV. Finally, after dinner, we play password. My aunt and I are pretty good at it, and almost always win. I wish Turkey Day came more than once a year. Now, before we start highlighting this, I want you to note that this is an advanced level paragraph, so this would be a B level. Later in the presentation, I will show you what the A level looks like. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to underline in green our topic sentence, what the paragraph's about. Our family loves to celebrate Thanksgiving. Look at that beautiful straight line. We're also going to underline the concluding sentence in green. I wish Turkey Day came more than once a year. Now we want to start looking at the body sentences and looking for those big ideas. So the first sentence after the topic sentence should be one of the big ideas. Let's read it. To start, all of our relatives come over to our house. Okay, that sounds like a big idea, so I'm going to underline it in red. Now, the next sentence should be something that provides say more for that idea. So let's read it and see. Some come in the car and some come on airplanes. Okay, that sounds like it's saying more about it, so I'm going to highlight this one in yellow. This is a say more. It's saying more about the other big idea. Okay. Now I want you to go to your notes and I want you to highlight and underline the whole entire paragraph. Look and see if the next sentence is a new big idea or still about, if it's still a say more about the previous idea. Make sure you pause. When you come back, we'll continue on. All right, let's check and see how you did. So you can see here what your paragraph should look like. The top and bottom are green, and then you have red and yellow in the middle. The ones that you should have underlined in red are the big ideas. These include how all the relatives came, that mom spends time preparing a yummy meal, after dinner, clean up with the cousins, and then playing password as a family. All the sentences that you've highlighted in yellow are those say mores. They tell you more about each of those big ideas. They say more and expand more about them. Now, there are some things that we want to avoid. You want to keep things from being too simple. You don't want to be boring or overtly obvious. You don't want to be vague, meaning that it's so general that nobody knows what you're talking about. And you don't want to be repetitive, where the same thing keeps coming up over and over again. Let's look at an example of a paragraph that would not be at advanced level. This says, our family loves to celebrate Thanksgiving. To start, all our relatives come over. It is so much fun. Next, my mom cooks the food. It is also yummy and fun. Finally, we play password. It is so much fun. My aunt and I win. Definitely, my family loves to celebrate Thanksgiving. Okay, so that's obviously a much lower level writing. We want to, instead of having something like that, here's some tips to think about. Always look towards making it as interesting as you can. You're writing it not for you, but for your reader. So come up with interesting, different, unusual things that will really capture your reader's attention. Try not to be obvious, and make sure that you're being as specific as possible because your reader wasn't with you. Only you know all the information, and unless you get it written down, your reader can't read your mind. And finally, you do want to make sure that you have it written in your own voice, because then it sounds more like you and it is more interesting. So when it comes down to it, really often the difference between a proficient and an advanced or a mastery piece of writing is in these say-more sentences. So let's look at a mastery level sentence and see what happens when somebody puts a lot of creative, interesting, specific details that uses strong verbs, how much better things get. All right, while many Americans have fun traditions for Thanksgiving, my family specializes in having a great time. In our family, it begins by getting all the relatives together. Grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins all gather at our house for the big day. Some come by car and some come by airplane, but everyone shows up. My mom begins shopping and cooking the week before to prepare for the traditional feast. Roasted turkey, apple stuffing, potatoes and gravy, and of course pumpkin pie make a delicious meal that fills all of us to the brim. My dad always has to loosen his belt by the end of the meal. After dinner, my cousins and I help clear the table and do the dishes, while the men in the family all retire to the family room for the NFL football game. This year the Broncos are playing, which will cause a great deal of cheering and shouting at the TV. The day ends with a competitive game of password. We have the same teams every year, pairing up an adult and a kid. My Aunt Marcia and I usually hold our own. It's a great game that has helped me build my vocabulary. Our family enjoys many activities on Turkey Day, but being together is the best part of all. So notice how many more say-mores there are even from the advanced level paragraph, and how that adds the ideas and voice to the writing and makes it overall better. Okay, so that is the end of this part of the video. We've reviewed what body sentences should include, both the big ideas and the say-mores, and the next video will cover the transitions and conclusions. Please go back and check your notes, make sure you have things complete, and rewatch the video at any time that you need to.